All right, good morning. Here we go. Rolling today on Saturday, August 9th, a little earlier, 9 o'clock show. I got to drive over into the city a little bit today, so I couldn't do the usual timing with today's stream. But also had a sleepover last night, so it was a little bit of a zoo this morning, but we're ready to go. I watched some baseball last night. I didn't watch a ton. I watched a little Yankees Mets. I watched a little of the Kershaw and Scherzer thing, which I'm definitely going to touch on. I have some ideas of things to maybe look at here. Let me look at my notes. Let's see here. Scherzer, Kershaw, Cal Raleigh hit a big homer. We got to watch that at bat. We got to watch the Mets Brewers finish. I want to watch that Devin Williams versus Carlos Correa at bat because there were some interesting quotes that came out of that. But we should definitely head over to here and get it cracking with the standings this morning. It is the Blue Jays holding on to their 3-game lead over the Red Sox. Red Sox had a big win last night against the Padres. Kind of took it to Nick Pivetta a little bit. I knew going into that start that was going to be a pretty tough start for Nicky P. It was going to be emotional. He's either going to shove or get hit. You know, it was one of those. It's going to go one way or the other. Yankees lose another heartbreaker to the Astros. They're 6.5 back. Tigers and Cleveland both won. Cleveland remains hot. They are now 5 over 500. They're playing really good ball. They are only 6 back of Detroit, and they're still playing the White Sox. So if the Angels can play well against Detroit, Cleveland can creep even closer. Houston, 1.5 up on Seattle as they won last night, as did Seattle. Seattle won their 5th in a row. Texas now lagging behind that group just a bit. Mets lose again, 5th in a row, so now they're 3.5 behind the Phillies as they won. Mets are starting to really, really slide here. This is not our best moment for the Metros. Milwaukee now 5-game lead over the Cubs. So Milwaukee is the benefactor. They beat the Mets last night. Cubs lose again. That's a 5-game lead. Milwaukee is getting harder and harder to ignore. I didn't include them in my power rankings yesterday in the top 5, even though they have the best record in baseball. But they are getting harder and harder to ignore with the way that they've been playing. Dodgers 3 up, had a nice win yesterday in the Kershaw-Scherzer matchup. Mookie Betts finally clips Max in that game. Big swing for Mookie. That's kind of the biggest takeaway from the Dodgers and Blue Jays yesterday. But Padres 3 back, pretty tight. And if we go look at this wild card, I think this is getting a little spicy in the American League. Yeah, if it ended today, it would be Red Sox, Mariners, and Yankees for the 3 wild card spots, with the Guardians a half game behind the Yankees, and Texas 1.5. So 2 teams threatening to bump the Yankees out of playoff contention. And with the way they're playing, you know, that's certainly a possible outcome. In the National League, it's a little bit more distance. The Mets would be the 3rd wild card team. They're 3.5 up on Cincinnati. So that is it for the standings today. And you know what? I think today would be a good day to go ahead and jump right into Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw. So first, let's go look at their baseball reference pages for a second, as these are both Hall of Fame caliber baseball reference pages. They did square off last night. 2 of the draft picks of my draft, 2006 draft, first rounders. The 7th overall pick, Clayton Kershaw, and the 11th overall pick, Max Scherzer. Kershaw out of high school in Texas, Scherzer out of University of Missouri. Therefore, Clayton's much younger. Clayton, 37 years old, 143 days. And Scherzer is now 41 years old. So even though drafted the same year, you're talking almost a 4-year difference. If you're going to compare careers, they're a little bit different. Kershaw is beating him in WAR by about 5 WAR. Scherzer has got the huge edge in strikeouts, 3,400 strikeouts relative to Kershaw, who just broke 3,000. 218 wins for Max, 217 for Clayton. Neither of them are going to get to 300, more than likely. But the ERA, 2.52 career for Kershaw, and Scherzer's up at 3.18. Now, granted, Clayton pitched a lot of his career in the National League. You know, where there's the pitcher hitting for a long time, so I think that might have been a little bit of a factor. Also, he played in some really good. He played in one ballpark, but it's a really good pitcher's park, or at least it was. and it started to swing back towards the hitters a little bit over time. But yeah, Clayton pitched in Dodger Stadium for all those years. If you really want to look at something crazy, you got to look at these peak years. It's really this whole section here from age 21 all the way through, this is where he starts to get hurt a little bit. So all the way through 31, 21 to 31, he's got a 2.35 ERA during that time period with a 7.04 winning percentage. It's just crazy. And a matching FIP, like it's totally earned. So that would be the very long Kershaw prime. But what's funny is even since then, he's pitched quite well. This is since then. He's rocking a 2.85. So his downturn is still a sub-3 ERA. So that's why I would give the nod, I think, to Clayton overall in terms of best career. It's close, but Clayton's just hard to beat when it comes to the consistency of the ERA, all the ERA titles in a row. He led the league in ERA in 11, 12, 13, and 14, as well as 17. So 5 ERA titles. Scherzer is more on the strikeout side of things. A lot of his black ink on his baseball reference is strikeouts. He led the league in strikeouts in 16, 17, and 18, where he had 300 punchies in 2018, which is a special thing. And I remember I asked Max about the quest for 300 strikeouts and kind of how he would go about thinking that. And he said 9 was the number. Like, you need to get 9 strikeouts every single start. Obviously, you can go above that, but you need to average 9. And he felt like if he could get 9 every game, he could chase 300 if he stayed healthy. And that's exactly what happened. He threw 220 and 2/3 innings that year with 300 tickets. One of the only guys to ever do that, so it's very, very cool. I had the privilege of playing with Max. He's a workhorse. He's had some years that were probably a higher peak in terms of strikeouts and, total WAR total. So, I guess his top season, 7.2 WAR in 2017. Let's look at Kersh, because this is a fun comparison. Kersh's top WAR, never mind, 8.1 in 2013, 7.7 in 2014. So Scherzer has the best. Scherzer has the most strikeouts, and he's done a lot of things, but I don't think he can mess with Kershaw's resume. Kershaw's resume is definitely number one in my mind between these two. So that's where we're going to go. They did square off last night. Yeah, innings pitched. Innings pitched is a big thing, but that's both of them, though. So this is Clayton. 232 this one inning, this 1 year. And really this stretch, 204, 233, 227, 236, 198, 232. That's a really good stretch. Scherzer's innings. Yeah, there's a 195, 195, 187, 214, 220, 228, 228, 200, 220. Workhorses and really good pitchers along the way. So let's go to the game last night. It's the Jays and the Dodgers. Los Angeles Dodgers, Toronto Blue Jays. And it was Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. So let's watch a little bit of, we'll just go back and forth a little bit. Both of them went about 6 innings, and we'll just see how they got their outs.
How about a strikeout for
it's a classic Clayton back foot slider for the first out of his game.
Purchase of a large drink. One away, Ernie Clement. Lined into shallow center field.
Fastball down and in, somehow gets the guy to pop it out. That's also a Clayton special. Extreme amount of lift and cut on the fastball for him, making it tough to square up. And then he's going to get Vladdy here.
We need you to be the guy that's
the slider looking.
We got a lineup full of guys that are patient. He takes strike 3, and Kershaw puts bookend K's on a 1-2-3.
Vlad says no way, but sir, that ball's completely in the box. So that is incorrect. And then let's see how Max started off his game. There was a Shohei base hit. Now I watched Max's last start on here, and if you guys remember, if you were watching for any of that, he had a good game, but upon further review, he was more lucky than good in that game. So I was curious to watch some of how he pitched last night, and honestly, for the time that I watched, his execution was very, very good. Now you can see here in the first inning, he made a couple mistakes with some good hitters for some singles, but I thought he located his chase slider. Let's see where he gets this one. Yeah, very well. This is bottom of the zone with late drop. You can see this ball gets a very long way, and it's right down the middle before dropping out, and then the bat comes through here. So you see it up, you try to chase it, ultimately you're over it. and that's filth. So there's
for the first out.
Mad Max getting his first out of the game. And he gets a fly out here. That's what he was doing a lot last game, was that mistake slider in, and you can see it almost cost him a 3-run homer here. Will Smith, 94.7, so about 1 or 2 miles an hour on the exit velo, and that's a 3-run homer. So he comes out of the gate not very sharp. That's why it's important to watch. And he even has a 4-pitch walk to Muncy, so he ends up getting to Teoscar with the bases loaded. He probably pitched himself to this matchup. But that's what you would like to see out of Max, is actual location of the slider when he gets the pitch to the chase area, which for Max is this whole circle right here, anywhere in here, and all the way to the ground, and then even over the middle and low. That's where he wants to be, and that's where that pitch goes, gets the chase. And that's really going to be the key moving forward. So they both have a nice first inning, and we'll pick up on Kershaw's second inning as he starts it off with a double to Bo Bichette.
In the 3 games. Pokes this one to first.
I'm sorry, but that's an error. Freddie got his feet tangled there.
And then it skittered away.
Can we just watch Freddie field this ball? Yeah. That's kind of a weird play. Tough contact to give a double on, 56 miles an hour, but it is a double. Let's see how he works through that. He's going to go with his curveball to Kirk. Where he gets him way out front, chops him. Good base running, though, by Bichette to move up to third. So let's see. This is how the first run's going to score. It's Addison Barger getting an RBI knockoff Clayton.
Third and 1 out.
Tries to get him on a 1-2 curveball, doesn't get it down enough. He hit that ball hard, yeah, 103. So there's the first run of the game. And you can see, like, these guys still really know what they're doing out there, but definitely Clayton's stuff has declined a little bit. So it's going to take a big amount of execution for him to, do his thing still. This is another hit, so he's in big trouble in this second inning. Fortunately for him, this ball's hit hard enough where the runner's not able to score. So we got bases loaded, 1 out, and then he's the benefactor of this lined double play from Miles Straw. This kind of lets Clayton reset before the game gets run away from him a little bit. And drive to Mookie, really nice play. Huge play, honestly. It's a huge swing. That ball gets through. It's going to be first and third again with 2 more runs in, 3-0, and he's likely on his way out of the game. So that was his second inning. Because, like, when I was watching this game, it looked like Max was the one who was more in control. That was probably around the 4th inning, so let's see how we got there. There's a good pitch. Gets above the barrel, jams him a little bit. Conforto, fly ball to left, and a nice out. I agree with you, Mike. That was an old man error, 100%. And now we're going to get Andy Pajas with the pop-up.
Pitching matchup was guys you already knew were headed to the Hall of Fame, not these kids that might be good one day.
Another Scherzer slider that he does not get down and away. So it's getting a little concerning. That's been the majority of the sliders that I've seen. But so far in this game, he's gotten away with it. There you go. There's a perfectly executed changeup down and away. So nice second inning for Max. We'll switch back over to Clayton for the third. And it's going to start with yet another hit. So he was definitely in the... He was definitely in a pickle most of this game. You can see that fastball, 88 miles an hour. I mean, we're getting close to the threshold where it's hard to pitch. 88.1 miles an hour. It's a little bit slow, if we're being honest. I mean, you could probably get away. He'd probably be really dominant with 90-91, and he's been solid this year, but we are getting to the point where
his
fastball's just not going to beat you if he doesn't locate it precisely. All right, so leadoff hitter on. Here's Ernie Clement.
Half swing.
Ooh, nicely located. He's going to get 1 out here. Nice play by Mookie. Very smooth. But it does move the runner up to second. He's actually going to punch out Vlad for the second time. Perfect execution on the slider right below the zone. So Vlad is now 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Clayton. And he's going to get this Bo Bichette.
225 when you consider this a 300 hitter year in and year
round out right here, actually deflected over to the rookie Alex Freeland. And so he ends up getting out of the jam really quickly. Even though he gives up that leadoff hit, it's a 1-pitch out, a 2-pitch out, and a 2-pitch out, and he's out of the third. So nice job there. So now we go to Max's third inning, and it's back to the top of the order, and Shohei.
Reaches out, rolls
Shohei
over
has such
second.
great plate coverage that he
Clement,
feels like he
first
can
out.
reach anything. But this is a good pitch taking advantage of that because Shohei's hip is way gone, and that causes a little bit of a rollover reachy swing. But, I mean, Shohei stands pretty far off the plate, and yet he can still reach balls that are that far off the plate, which is like way over here, which is very impressive. So anyway, one out on a rollover on a nice changeup from Max. And now we're going to go to Mookie. See where he gets this slider. Okay, a much better location, gets it down. I don't think Max realized that his life was not in danger there, but let's watch Max from the side hit the deck. I love watching Max. All right, so a little ground ball there, and that is the second out, and then Freddie Freeman. Four seam up, gets it up, gets the jam. So that's what Max's fastball is designed to do. That's the type of contact he's used to getting. When he's executing, you're going to see a lot of fastballs up and in on lefties. So at this point, it did look to me like Max was starting to roll a little bit. All right, Clayton, fourth inning. Alejandro Kirk got him with the curveball the first time. Got him with the curveball again. Yeah, in the chat, Mike, I agree with you. The threshold, I don't know what the threshold is. I think it depends on how your ball plays, but it's starting to get to the point where you can kind of see that his fastball just doesn't have the same effect if it's not really located properly. Even though it still has good shape, still has deception to it. 88 is just very slow. So a guy can be kind of off timing and probably still make contact. You don't have to do any cheating to get to the fastball anymore, so that makes him overall a little generally easy to square up on all pitch types. So he's gotten Kirk out twice on curveballs. And here's an Addison Barger single. So Barger is now going to get a hit on a curveball, and here's on a slider.
Barger up the middle.
This one he got off the end. This was a very good pitch, but a very vicious cut allowed him to hit this ball off the nub of the end of the bat and still get it up the middle. So Barger 2 for 2, left on left. Now Kershaw's looking for the double play ball. Ty France gets in the reach for the backdoor slider and gets his double play ball. So Kershaw has found a way to get some nice contact outs, and he's at 50 pitches through 4. Scherzer's fourth. Will Smith.
20th, there is a chance. Years old, injury history. Injury shortened season in Atlanta.
Fastball up, gets him to scoop under it. So now Max is starting to really utilize that fastball up, and it's definitely playing. As he gets that pop up there, let's see how he gets Muncy. This is also going to be a fastball. So really through this whole section of the game, and this is part of what I was watching, he started going to the fastball quite a bit. I think Dodgers were a little bit more on an off-speed approach, and he was able to get some quick outs throwing fastballs up in the zone.
Back up with the fastball, ground ball, Bichette from short center. Popped out.
Honestly, this is a play that could have been made. I've noticed that Bo Bichette, his range has really started to come back to the pack quite a bit. This isn't a great contact. This is a very makeshift play. So anyway, it ends up being a hit, and Max has to go ahead and strike out Conforto, which he's going to do with this slider. Let's see if he gets it to where he wants it. Yes, that's the location. That's the location, and I called it last week. I knew he'd be working on it. This is exactly where Max wants to get the ball, like we've discussed, right in here. And this ball pops in the middle of the zone, which is what you want to induce the swing, and then gets to the kill zone. Perfect spot. All right, so that's Max's fourth inning, and now we'll go to Clayton's fifth inning. Miles Straw. It's going to get him on a slider, probably back foot. Yep, right below the zone. He's got that downward tilt on that slider. That's probably 2,500. That's probably 2,000 of the 3,000 strikeouts right there is that type of pitch. Then he's going to walk Vlad, which we don't need to watch, and then he's going to get this double. Well, wait a minute. So oh no, we're still in the fifth. Davis Schneider.
Big league chance.
89.3. See if he gets in on him. Doesn't get in on him, but the ball still has good carry. Gets kind of under it, pops it up. So that's why he's still getting away with the speed a little bit. Is he still has very good shape on the pitch, causing guys to miss hit. So that's how he's going to end the fifth. He has a very, very, very smooth fifth. One hit, but pretty smooth. Jams Ernie Clement, little popped up ball. Nice running catch by the rookie Freeland. Covered a lot of ground there. Let's watch it from the high home. Yeah, nice play. Nice play. All right, so now we go to Max's fifth. And this is where he got into trouble finally. So let's see how it manifested itself. Morning, Graham.
Another payoff to Pages, popped out of his hand.
Another curveball. So another breaking ball that he doesn't get to the glove side, which is where he wants to get. Pages kind of mishits it, but floats it in for a leadoff hit. And now the Dodgers are in business. But Scherzer gets a nice fortuitous moment here versus the rookie. Popped up.
He's going to have to hustle back. He doesn't realize it.
And Pages was stealing on the pitch, so they're able to get a free double play on this. Unbelievable. High home. Did they do a deke here? Stealing second. Yeah, slides in. Has no idea where the ball is. And that allows for the double play. All right, let's see here. So he's running on the pitch. So his head's down. Ball goes up. Doesn't peek. Doesn't know where it is. Shortstop. Bo Bichette goes to second like he's covering the base. He even kind of straddles the bag, and that causes the slide. So now you got the slide, and then there's this whole period of time where he doesn't know where the ball is. Ball's still in the air. The runner here, Pages, still has no idea where the ball is. He realizes too late, so now he's starting to run back. Vlad catches it, but he's got enough time to see and make a strong throw and get the double play. So poor base running there. You got to always peek on your run, and pretty good selling it, I'm assuming, from Bo Bichette in that spot. So nice job. So quick 2 outs, and it looked like he was rolling, but this inning all of a sudden got a little hairy as he went to the third time through the lineup, and Shohei.
Now a 2-2. Left it over the plate.
Slider that just doesn't really slide. Still a nearly made play, but this ball, if you watch it, it kind of straightens out. So that ball pops middle, and normally this ball would start to zip down to this region, but this ball kind of overspins back to the middle and never really gets there. Instead, it kind of just checks up right into the honey hole here, and it doesn't get low enough. And with 2 strikes, he's in swing mode, and he's just 1-1-5 in the gap, easy double, and that sets up this at bat with Mookie Betts. And it's a first pitch ambush on the slider. And there's the Mookie we know. He's a smart player. You can't get him out, but he's going right. And hopefully this is the start of him going right. You can't get him out usually the same way more than once. Max has always been playing this game with Mookie of the slider down and away. He hangs this one in the middle. This is a Mookie home run. Backspun to left. Excellent anticipation at the plate.
Tying run at second. Betts hits the ball in the air. Deep left field.
Another one. Foot goes forward, hands go back. Foot goes forward, hands go back. And then catches it out front for the Pull Johnson homer. Nice swing. Really nice swing. All right, so then he walks Freddie, and he ends up getting this fly out, and now all of a sudden he's on the losing side of things. Even though it looked like Max was rolling here in the fourth and that Kershaw was in trouble early, the game kind of flips. And both of these guys are some of the best in the world in their careers of if you get in a little trouble early in the game, just keep surviving, and better times are coming once you get rolling. And that's kind of what happened for Kershaw. He did not look sharp early, but he's going to end up with 6 innings, 1 run. It's a leadoff walk to Vlad, then he coaxes this double play out of Bo Bichette. He had some huge clutch double plays in this game. And really a lot of that backdoor slider below the zone to the righty, getting the swingers into this reach mode right here. Rolling into a nice double play. So that was big, and then he gets his last out on Kirk. Got him out twice with curveballs, and now it looks like once on a slider, little chopper to Muncy. So Kershaw, 6 innings, 1 run, excellent outing. Did Max end up getting through 6? He did, and it was a walk of Muncy. Then we got a fly out of Teoscar, who's had some good swings off of his fastball. This was also a pretty good swing, but just not quite enough. 95-7. And then he's going to get his last 2 punchies of Conforto. See if he gets up here. Yep, up in the zone. Gets the emergency swing. And then Pages. Slider. Let's see if he can get it to the kill spot. Yes. So again, every time he's gotten it to where it needs to go, which is that down and away, he's gotten good things to happen. But oftentimes he's been popping them back in here and missing. And guys have been able to make him pay when he misses. So really for Max, it's an execution thing. It's not a pitch sequencing thing. It's not a choice thing. It's not a velocity thing. It's an execution thing, especially with the slider. And here's a beautiful one. Strike, ball, gets the sword. And you can see Max was pretty happy that he finally made the pitch. In classic grit teeth Max form. So they both go 6 innings. Scherzer gives up 2, ends up taking the L in this one. Kershaw gives up 1. He ends up getting the W. It was a great little showdown between 2 3,000 strikeout pitchers, which I don't know if it ever happened before. But again, these guys are awesome. They've been doing it forever. It's fun to watch them, see how they do it. Now, Max still has his velo, so Max has had a lot of health issues where you don't know if he's going to play week to week or whatever, but when he is playing, his stuff's there. He was up to 95 in this game. The slider looks good. It's just an execution game, and I think he'll get better and better as he goes. But physically, that's a major comfort, I would say, to Blue Jays fans, that Max is looking so good with his measurables like velocity and things like that. Kershaw, I do think there's a little bit more concern there. The stuff is just not what it was. I think he's a nice option to pitch every 5th day, and he's certainly going to give you a chance. He's not going to beat himself. He knows what he's doing. But you can see in this game, like, they were on him. They definitely let him off the hook a few times with some double play balls. And he was a little bit fortunate overall with his quality of contact. But, you know, I still think there's a lot of value here, and they'll just evaluate as they get closer and closer to big games like the playoffs. All right, what do we got in the chat? Watching this game live, it felt like the Jays kept letting Kershaw off the hook. I agree. I don't think he was, he was not vintage Clayton Kershaw. But, he's so good at tiptoeing around and throwing pitches that are tough to hit and using your aggression against you. And there was some of that in there, so you got to give him credit. But I do agree. He was ticketed for probably 3 or 4 run start in this game, ended up with the 1. So, if you're him, you certainly take it and move on. But, I don't think it was super dominant stuff. That's for sure. Okay, now we have a couple of big at-bats to check up on in a row. We're going to run through them. The first one was this Cal Raleigh. They had a nice comeback against the Mariners last night. Against the Rays. Mariners-Rays. So let's go look at that. Tampa Bay Rays, Seattle Mariners. And we are looking at Griffin Jacks, who... We keep watching Griffin Jacks have tough outings, but this is one of the nastiest relievers in the league. This guy was one of the guys that I wanted, the Mets to trade for, a lot of guys. And he ends up getting into a kind of a crazy situation. He strikes out Solano, so we'll run through it real quick. Jacks here, he punches out Solano. This is another guy that I played with since I was very little. 20 years old, me and this guy were on the same team in the New York Penn League, me and Donovan Solano, and he's still playing. He just got to 10 years. So 10 years from him, 10 years from Tommy Pham, 10 years from Daniel Scalzo, 10 years from John Jay. Cardinals, you got to give Jeff Luhnow a lot of credit for that draft. Chris Perez would have had 10 years if he didn't quit. So, a lot of dudes. Anyway, Donovan Solano strikes out, but then here's where it gets a little hairy.
Tying this one up.
J.P. Crawford stays through a changeup very, very nicely. Now, remind you, it's a 2-run game here, so when you're pitching in this spot, you're trying to just collect outs. 1 run's never going to kill you, but you're also trying to stay away from the homer once you get guys on base. So he does that, but that ball's pounded through the hole, and there's 2 guys on. So now he gets up to this matchup with a Rosarena, which this is a good matchup for Jacks. The sweeper's going to play. Hangs one in the middle, but he's got such good spin on it that Randy can't square it up, pops it up. And that sends us to this at-bat with Cal Raleigh, and this was the game right here. So let's watch the whole thing. We start him with a sweeper. Doesn't get the call, almost gets it. Now the Griffin Jacks sweeper, couple measurables we should look at real quick. For one thing, spin rate 3,264, top of the scale, absolutely elite. That ball's coming in and it's blurry. That's how much it's spinning. Very hard to see any spin on it. You're just going to see a blurry white blob. Movement-wise, negative 11.5, which is pretty good movement to the left, as well as negative 6.1. So it's 2 plane, kind of like a slurve, but the big key is the velocity, 86.4. So all that movement and spin, but the ball's still coming in very fast. So that's the Griffin Jacks sweeper as he goes ball 1. And now he's going to go right to the changeup. Using a little bit of an Edward Cabrera approach of not throwing your fastball, understanding that your power changeup has exceptional break, negative 1.4, but it gets him to 2-0. And 2-0 is not where you want to be with Cal Raleigh. He's a catcher. He's going to be guessing. He's going to be anticipating something. Just don't know what it is. Now, if I'm watching this game, I haven't seen too much fastball, so I'm anticipating sweeper. And let's see what Cal gets. He does get a sweeper. All right, good choice by Ottavino. And even though it's down and away and pretty well located, that's excellent anticipation for the big dumper. 108 miles an hour at 28, 417, 3-run homer, game-winning homer. To put them up 3-2. This pitch was filthy too. Negative 18.5, negative 4.2, but big dumper did not care. You can see the anticipation because this ball pops like it's going to be up and away out of the zone, but he's so engaged on looking for something to pop away from him that he goes down and gets this and puts it right on the barrel. And pitchers, if you're at home, don't do this. Ball goes up in the air. This is never a good look. Don't be pointing up. It just doesn't work out well for you, man. All right, let's watch dumper from the side. Man, look at him go down and get that. That is smooth as smooth can be. Wham! He just has such a knack. You know, he really hasn't been as hot since the break, but he's still been hitting homers because he has such a knack of barreling the ball in the air pull side. So that was the home run I wanted to watch for Raleigh. That's number 43 on the year. Catcher's going to go over 50 dingers this year. What a damn year for him. Okay, so that was the big at-bat I wanted to see there. Anticipation was the key there. And if you're facing a catcher at a high level, you should probably realize that the catcher's going to be guessing a little bit. All right, we got another person in the chat. Don't care what his ERA is. I would want him in the 8th or 9th. Jays Hoffman is having a similar season when stuff is good enough. You got to ride it out. Talking about Jax, I believe. Yeah, I mean, ERA is not the stat for relievers. Of course, you want to have a good one. I always felt like I had a ticker over my head with my ERA, and that was like, just felt like everybody could see it and judge me based off of that. But the ERA is not the most important thing. It's the process and how you're going about it. And what I like to see is guys that don't have extended periods of struggle. Like you give up a run, the next game's scoreless. You give up 2 runs, the next game's scoreless. Like you're always getting back to scoreless. Like the majority of the time, you're in a good place and you're never getting derailed and having like 2 or 3 bad outings in a row. That's the stuff that I look at. All right, so that was it for that moment. I also wanted to get into this Devin Williams. I'm so sick of watching, tough Yankee moments, but we got to watch the Devin Williams at-bat versus Correa last night. Carlos mentioned that he felt like he had a good approach against Williams and that he felt like he was going to live and die with the changeup. So this is the tough part about being a relief pitcher. A dominant relief pitcher over time is you pitch so well that you get everybody's attention and they realize what your tricks are. And even though he's got one of the best changeups that the game has ever seen, make no mistake about it, the Airbender is one of the best changeups that's ever existed in life in baseball. People are used to seeing it now. I actually recall Correa has a home run off Williams on a changeup. And I think veteran hitters are okay to stick with their plan and be embarrassed. And I think Correa's okay sticking with changeup plan, and if he gets beat with fastballs, he gets beat. So in this situation, let's watch how it played out. You have the ghost runner on second, and Devin's looking to get this first out of the inning. So he throws the first fastball to the backstop, which immediately sends the guy to third. So if you're on the mound right now, you have to immediately think, okay, that runner's scoring at third. There's no point in even trying to strand him. That would be doing too much. You have a chance to equal in the bottom half of the inning anyway, and really you should just get back in the zone and get an out here. But Correa said when he saw him throw that ball to the backstop, it immediately clicked in his head, well, he's not going to throw that fastball again, and now I'm going to be sitting on changeup the rest of the at-bat. So let's see how this plays out. Here's the 1-0. Changeup takes it, so that's him kind of measuring it. And Devin doesn't know, based off that take, what Carlos is looking for. In fact, this take kind of, to me, it looks like either an auto take or that he's looking for fastball. So I think I might have been tricked into throwing another changeup here myself. Sure enough, he goes to the next changeup, and he gets him. This is a beautifully executed changeup. Pops outside the zone, so there's a little bit of indecision on the swing, and then that thing drops off the table with a negative 8.1 vert, which is just inhuman. So it's like, I know this guy's struggling, but his pitch movement is still inhuman. It's still very, very top of the scale, and that's why I don't care what happens the rest of the year. Somebody's still going to pay Devin Williams in this offseason, just say this was a fluke. But I bet you it won't be the Yankees now. So anyway, here comes The fourth pitch, he's still sitting on changeup. Williams feels like he's not on the changeup. He just buckled him with one, got him the swing and miss at the other one. But Correa has made a swing adjustment. He has decided, I am going to stay low. I'm going to stay through this ball. I'm going to get under the ball. I'm going to find a way to get the job done, and that's what he does here. Even a better pitch. It's even a better changeup than the one before. Pops in a similar location, but ends up in even a less hittable spot. I mean, you should not be able to hit this pitch, but look at the commitment to staying down through this ball. And you can see it on the follow-through by Correa. And all you got to do is get it over the infield with the infield in. Batting averages go up 100 points with the infield in. So 73 is more than enough to get it done. And let's watch Correa from the side, because this is a really cool swing of riding it out. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great approach. Apparently this was discussed in the hitters meeting. He's going to live and die with his changeup. We'll sell out for the changeup. You got to stay low. You got to adjust your swing. You got to get through the ball to get under it. And look at how he does that. Gets here and then just that extended, sticks his nose, sticks his chest in there, gets the job done. Great at bat by Correa. You got to give him credit there. And, you know, these guys, these Astros, him, Altuve, Yankee killers. Speaking of Altuve, he did hit a home run right away that kind of silenced the crowd. Of course, they were booing him, and here it is, off Schlitter, first pitch. I mean, you just don't know what he's looking for at first pitch, and he's so good at ambushing. I mean, the guy's tiny and hits the ball 109. Altuve's a Hall of Famer, folks. So, Yankee fans are hating it, Astro fans are loving it, and the combo of Altuve and Correa again. I mean, are you kidding me? It's unbelievable. These guys just own the Yankees. All right, we're going to go here for the chat real quick from Mike. When you're struggling as much as Williams is, what's your state of mind? You know your stuff is there, but do you alter your approach? Do you change your routine? So me, I was always obsessed with the process over the results. That was what would give me confidence. So if I was him, I'd be pulling up my Baseball Savant page. Like if I were him, I'd be going to my own page right here and just trying to find reasons, like, you know, just answers, something to put my focus towards. So if I'm looking at this here, I'm still saying, okay, in general, I'm throwing the ball well. What's killing me? It's barrels and walks. I can't do anything about my fastball velo at this point in the season. But as you can see, what's below average? Barrels and walks. So the big thing is, am I throwing enough first pitch strikes? So I'd be going and look down at my first pitch strikes. Let's see that. First pitch strikes, 57.7. That's actually in line with his career. But I'd be looking to push that number up. And I'd be saying, I got to throw 2 of the first 3 pitches for strikes no matter what. Now, it's a little tough because he plays a coin flip game. It's 2 pitches. And what you're seeing a lot of is guys sitting on one pitch or the other and knowing that at some point you're going to get it. He doesn't throw too many at-bats where it's 5 changeups in a row or 5 fastballs in a row. So I think this is what's getting him a little bit, is guys being more disciplined to either sit on the changeup as good as it is or sit on the fastball, and the fastball's not as fast as it was before. So if I were him, I'd be looking to mix those pitches up. I'd be trying to figure out with each hitter where I can go with my fastball, whether it's just up or whether it's in or it's out, and I'd be using that area. I'd be trying not to be too fine. I'd be trying to shotgun shot into that area and just understand that that's my best bet to get ahead. And then really everything else should clear up from there. Then you have a chance to throw pitches for chase. You don't have to come in the zone as much. That should fix the barrel problem. But he needs to do a little better job of reading the at-bats. And, I mean, I've been on record saying he's gotten mostly unlucky this year, and he has. I mean, you can see the chase percentage, the whiff percentage, and everything else. But if you're worried about getting ambushed, then, yeah, third pitch might be the move. I don't know. He's going to have to do some soul-searching and some figuring out what to change, because on the surface, it's not that bad when you look at the process stats. Does he need to learn a cutter? He used to throw a cutter, but I think it bothered his shoulder a little bit. Me looking at his arsenal, if you look at this arsenal effects, everything is to the arm side, right? The fastball's to the arm side and the changeup. So he needs something in that empty space to the left there. So that could be a sweeper, that could be a cutter, that could be a slider. Really anything that's a little more left would make a big difference for him. So they can't key in on one arm side movement, one type of movement, which would be arm side in this situation. New York media playing into it, I think it's just hard in New York. Like, the expectations are so high, and once the narrative gets out there that you're kind of the guy dragging the team down, well, it's tough because you feel it all the time. Like during BP, you can feel like kind of the negativity towards you by the people that are just standing out there in the crowd, or while you're warming up, you might feel it. And it's just the overall energy in the building gets a little hostile. You could be getting booed on the way into the game, which is a tough thing to block out. And at a certain point, a lot of guys kind of, when they given the choice of the fight or flight, they choose like, I kind of want to get out of Dodge. I kind of want to go somewhere fresh. Devin might be at that point. I don't know. I feel like he's been tough most of the year. He did have a stretch where he was dominant, so he was able to overcome it one time. I do think when you fall back down to the bottom again a second time, sometimes it's harder to summon that willpower, but he will. He's tough. He's a tough kid, but there's no doubt this is tough, and the energy in the building when he comes in is just not it. So that's another one I wanted to look at, and then I wanted to watch the very end of the Mets-Brewers game as the last thing today, as there was a play at the plate to end the game, and it was really well executed. And the Brewers, they just do all the little things right to win. Their bullpen has been outstanding. Woodruff has been outstanding. 7 innings against the Mets yesterday. He's been probably one of my top 5 favorite pitchers to watch since he's come off the IL this year. He's so good, such good command, doing it without what people would say is elite stuff, but I love watching it. Uribe's nasty, and then Trevor McGill, the brother of Big Drip Tyler McGill, was in the game last night to get the save, and this is how it went. He had 2 outs and nobody on and a 1-run lead, and 1 strike away when Starling Marte turns around the heater. He's never seen a heater that he didn't think he could be on time for. So a little missile there from Starling. Gets himself in a scoring position and sets up a really intriguing opportunity for the comeback for the Mets. Obviously, they have a history of making comebacks in this ballpark, going back to last playoffs, and it ends up being in this play with Jeff McNeil.
2 outs in the 9th.
Gets jammed, but floats it into center beautifully, but here comes the center fielder with a beautiful throw to the plate, posing him at the dish. And, it's just a beautiful thing. That was Perkins. Perkins in center. Poses this ball. We'll watch it again, and we'll watch it from the high home. But he does a really good job organizing his feet here for the throw. And that allows him to make that beautiful throw. Gets it over the mound on the one hop, which we've been talking about, the power of the one hop throw from the outfield. It's really, really big. All right, let's watch it from the high home. Perkins out here in center. Here he comes. Got rid of it quickly. Throw beats over the mound. Nice tag by Contreras. Marte's a dead duck, and that's a winner for the Brewers. So the Brewers continue to do the Brewers continue to do every single thing right in close games. They're an extra inning winning machine. It's a clutch hitting situation. They find a way to grind through it. In fact, I think the winning run here, there's just everything's going their way. My guy Brooks Raley came in this situation, bases loaded, gets ahead 0-2, ends up giving him a get out of jail free card with a hit by pitch. And that ends up being the winning run. They really grinded down Senga pretty good in this game in the 5th inning. The Mets are just making mistakes. So at this moment in the game, it was still 2-0. Terang takes them deep. Terang in his short career has been killing the Mets. So he takes them deep, cuts it to 1, and then this inning just gets weird. It's a pop-up, it's a walk, and then you got a catcher's interference. Let's see what happens on this catcher's interference, because catcher's interferences, they don't happen often, but when they do happen, they tend to really derail your team. So that cost them an out. See if we can see it. Alvy back there. Frelick saw it right away as he goes to point back, like, I got him, but let's see if we can see it. Yeah, nicks the glove a little bit, so it costs him an out there, and that is what ends up setting up for the crazy situation. Senga, the type of guy who's never going to give in, he ends up walking Contreras here on a 3-2 ghost fork. Pretty good take, and that's what led to Raley coming in and hitting the batter. So the station-to-station approach, and the Brewers just having a little bit of magic in their bones. 22-13 in one-run games. Thanks, Mike, for that stat. And the Brewers have the best record in the game. It's impressive to watch. I still don't believe in them as a team that can go the whole way. I'm sorry, Milwaukee fans. But it's my opinion that as good as they have been, their offense just isn't enough to really sustain this as we go. All right, regular season. Yeah, they are 9-1 in their last 10, 71-44. By far the best record now in the game. The next highest amount of wins is 68 by the Blue Jays. So they're 3 wins clear of anybody else. But again, they're doing it with a kind of a combination of things. Hard to put your finger on how this team's been so good and so consistent year to year. But they are. And I think it's almost time to take them very seriously. Now, Edward Cabrera, quick check-in. He shoved last night, one of his best starts in the year. I do think maybe we won't watch the game, but I want to quickly check up on his usage because that's something that we've been keeping tabs on for a bit now. Edward Cabrera, 34 curveballs, 34 changeups, 30 curveballs, 18 sinkers, 18 sliders, 9 fastballs. So he threw 27 fastballs in 109 pitches as he continues to just go right at guys with mostly changeup, curveball, and a little slider. So it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive stuff from Cabrera. He continues to figure out how to do this without fastballs, and he's been on an absolute burner. So that's what I want to look at there, and we will go and check the matchups for tonight as we're going to wrap it up tonight for today. Ryan Gusto and Hurston Waldrop. Waldrop's second career game. He looked really good in that speed. He made his debut in that Speedway series, which is pretty fun. Sandy and Eric Fetty. This is a doubleheader happening today between the Fish and the Braves. Sandy and Eric Fetty. Not a whole lot to say here. We'll continue to watch Sandy's evolution this year. Framber and Luis Heel. Second start for Luis off the IL. He's been hurt all year. Last year's defending Rookie of the Year for the Yanks, going against Framber, who's been a thorn in the Yankees side forever. So, man, are the Yankees going to be able to get off the mat? Brad Lord, Carson Wisenhunt. So Wisenhunt, this is, I believe, his third game now for the Giants. Still haven't checked in on him yet. I'd like to see what he's got. Nats and Giants. Kikuchi and Charlie Morton, the old dog. Tigers are starting to really slide. They need to pick it up. This should be a fun game. Nick Martinez and Braxton Ashcraft for the Pirates. Nick Martinez, this guy's bullpen starter, but finds a way to be consistent doing that. Jack Perkins, Brandon Young. 2 young guys in the A's-Orioles game. Noah Cameron, Bailey Ober, the Giant for the Twins. That's an AL Central little showdown. Cantillo and Burke, another AL Central showdown. The Mets are a TBA versus Tobias Myers, who actually pitched really well against the Mets twice last year. Has interesting shapes. Kind of like a cut four-seam approach with a good breaking ball. So we'll see how the Mets adjust to that. They're desperate for a win. Cardinals, Cubs, Colin Rea, Andre Palante. So 2 contact pitchers going at it there. And then Jesus Luzardo and Jacob deGrom. So great matchup in Texas. deGrom versus that Phillies lineup. That's a classic matchup since he faced a lot of those guys a lot as a Met. Luzardo, will he be tipping? Will he not be tipping? Both of these teams are playing pretty good ball. Rangers actually could use a little better fortune starting today, so we'll see. And then Bradley Blaylock, Erod in the desert. And then Giolito, Michael King. This is probably the game I'm most excited about. I love this series. Padres got kind of blitzed by the Red Sox yesterday. Pivetta definitely a little charged up, ran into some trouble early against Boston, his former team. So I love to see Kinger, one of my good buddies, pitching today for the Padres. He's so nasty, so we'll see how he's feeling. Big couple months for him too, heading into free agency. Giolito, same deal, great dude, started to roll. So maybe this could be a pitcher's duel out in beautiful Petco Park. Bassett and Snell, so a little bit of a contrast in styles here. You know, a veteran, crafty guy versus a nasty lefty, strikeout type of pitcher in Snell. So Dodgers are going to need Snell. If Snell looks good, that's a good sign for the Dodgers. Obviously, Joe Boyle and Logan Evans will wrap it up. So Bassett, Snell should be a great one. Giolito, King is a big one. Luzardo, deGrom, those are my top 3 games. And then I'll definitely be watching the Mets and a little bit of the Yankees to see if they can get back on track. And we'll quickly look at the chat before we say goodbye. Graham Singer, I've heard of the Marlins and Red Sox as teams that will push the four-seam usage lower. Does the mentality of needing to establish the four-seam hurt, even if it's bad hurt any orgs? Not a lot of teams really believe in that anymore. They believe in throwing your best pitch as much as possible and building your arsenal around that. In a perfect world, yeah, it'd be nice to go out there and go through the lineup with one pitch because then you're holding some stuff back. But the reality is that approach doesn't work the majority of the time. So people just believe in being who you are, maximizing who you are. And I think a big part of what the Red Sox and maybe Marlins were pushing is just the simple notion that fastballs are the pitches that get the most damage done against them. So why throw them very often? Steering a lot of guys into cutter shapes, which I don't love. I think it hurts your fastball, and I also think cutters are very feast or famine type pitches. They can be effective, and you can get seduced by the weak contact, the jamming, how it tunnels with your slider and certain things. But there's so much damage on poorly placed cutters that I think that I'd be looking at a guy's command before I'd be committed to making that type of change. But yeah, people are just trying to figure out this puzzle. I mean, now that we can learn pretty much every pitch type and match it up depending on the guy's arm slot, we can go a lot of different directions in terms of player development. But in general, some of the smarter teams the last few years have just pushed away from fastball usage if possible. Obviously, Edward Cabrera for the Marlins, great example. But then you see it flip. Like last night, Walker Buehler, he is a Red Sox. He actually threw the most four-seamers he's thrown all year, and he had one of his best starts. So nothing is written in stone. Nothing is mandated, as a permanent change. But yeah, teams are starting to see if less fastball usage for certain guys will pay dividends. So that's it for today. Thanks for hopping in the chat, and we will be back same time, same place tomorrow on a Sunday after a lot of these great games on Saturday. So thank you so much for hanging, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.